Good afternoon. I hope you all can hear. Okay, on behalf of the Algona branch of the American Association of University of Illinois, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome each and every one of you here, especially our 8th grade honorees and our panel who is going to be visiting with you shortly. We've done this for many years now, and it is always such a pleasure to see the young ladies working hard in school, and especially in the STEM area, which tends to be an area they tell us that about this age, girls tend to back off from that. We don't want you to do that. We want you to keep it going, and we want to encourage you. And this is one of our ways of encouraging you to continue working to your success in these types of fields, or whatever field you choose. First thing this afternoon, we're going to hear from our panel, and these are women who have jobs in the STEM area, a variety of different jobs, because there aren't just 2 or 3 jobs in this area, there's a multitude of jobs in this area. And don't forget that. After they speak, we will be giving each of the girls a certificate to recognize their achievement. Following that, we want to make sure that you all stay long enough that we get a picture. I'm sure you all have a scrapbook. And we try to get the picture in the paper so you can cut it out and have it in your scrapbook. So be sure you stick around for that, okay? First up, we'll start with Jamie, since she's right here beside me. And I'll let Jamie go ahead and tell you about her job and how she came to it.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Get this figured out.
My name is Jamie Brantner. I'm so happy to be here, and it's always exciting to see young women interested in STEM, and congratulations to all of you. So wonderful that parents are supporting this cause as well. So, my name is Jamie. I am a physician assistant. I work in family medicine in the Britt Medical Clinic. And so I'll tell you more about that, but I will tell you kind of where I started. So I grew up in the Twin Cities. I grew up in Shakopee, Minnesota, and wasn't quite sure I was interested in science when I was in high school. I was really interested in language. I was interested in business. And then I had an awesome anatomy class in high school that really just opened my eyes to science. So I got really excited, went to Luther College, Decorah, Iowa, and started a biology degree. And so a biology degree has a lot of your core sciences, anatomy, chemistry, some classes that weren't that fun, some classes that were really fun. But I always loved anatomy and physiology, learning how the body worked, and so I naturally wanted to then kind of pursue medicine. And so being in college, I kind of had to explore where did I want to take it next. And so if I could recommend anything to young women who are interested in science and in a profession in science, I would say start exploring different careers, shadow if you can, because that's a great way to kind of find where your place might be. You know, a lot of us kind of think, okay, I want to do medicine, I better be a doctor. I thought that for a really long time. And then I started shadowing, and I shadowed the front desk at a medical clinic, the lab, the nurse, the doctor, and I found this awesome lady who was a PA, and she just totally changed my life. And so I shadowed her for an entire summer, and I just knew that's what I want to do. And so after finishing my biology degree, I applied to PA school. The thing about PA school, you do need some experience in the medical field to apply. So I was a CNA for a couple of years, which maybe some of you are even thinking about that as high school jobs, which is a really great way to get experience too. So I was a CNA for a little while, applied to a PA program. The PA program I went to at Iowa was 2 years long, and then I was able to start practicing family medicine. And And so I started practicing in the Britt Medical Clinic almost 13 years ago, which has been a little while, but it's been a great career. And so in kind of some of the things that come along with medicine, you know, for the science part of it, every day I get to, you know, speak with people and get to know people, but I get to kind of use my brain in a way that challenges me every day. I get to problem solve. I get to, you know, work with people to get them to feel better. But it always breaks back down to my science of the human body and anatomy, physiology, how does the body work? And so it's been a great job to just really help me learn something new every single day, get to help people, and enjoy science for the rest of my life, which is really cool. So, you know, other than science with that, it combines communicating with people, getting to know people, building relationships, which has been really cool for me as well, really fulfilling, so I really enjoy that. Typical day in my profession would be in a clinic. I see patients kind of on a regular basis, and so for me, family practice, I get to take care of babies that were born 2 days ago in the hospital, but I also get to take care of patients that are 100 years old, and so I've always loved, they call it cradle to grave. I get to take care of people at every age, which is really neat. As a physician assistant, I get to do what a doctor can do with only a few limitations, which is really cool. I'm able to do procedures, so I can do stitches if somebody gets a cut. I can biopsy a mole, so take a little piece of someone's skin to see if they have skin cancer or what might be going on. If people are sick, I get to order tests and, you know, look at chest x-rays and kind of try to diagnose what might be the problem. I also get to take care of a lot of diseases like diabetes, asthma, breathing problems. I get to do kids' sport physicals that you guys are all probably familiar with. So I get to do a little of everything, and that variety has been really great, and I've really enjoyed it. So I just encourage you, like I said, explore all those amazing options. I think as she said in the introduction, you know, there's not just one avenue in science, there's so many things that we can explore. And so just looking around and seeing what's out there is always a great way to find what your calling might be. So I think that's really all I have. So, are there any questions that I
had? Well, thank you very much. Doesn't that sound exciting? I think it sounds really cool. But I wouldn't make it in the medical field. I'd fainted blood. Next up, we have Billy Willie.
Woo! Yay! Yay!
I made Mr. Billy Willie. Yeah, so most of you know me, I'm Billy Willie. You girls probably know me as Rebecca's mom. First of all, I want to say congratulations to all the young ladies in here. What an honor. And secondly, congratulations to your parents. I've raised 4 girls. It's super easy, as we all know. So congratulations, parents, for making it this far. You're doing great. But what I recognize a lot of the faces. What a great bunch of young women in this room. I came into the science world kind of, well, through my childhood. Yes, I was the kid that took daddy long-leggeds and pulled their legs off to see how many they needed on each side to still walk. So I dropped cats out of the trees to see if they really did land on their feet. Yeah, that was kind of my world growing up. I love to be outdoors. So that was really my passion. But when I went to school, I was going to be a psychologist. I majored in psychology and sociology. My dad asked me what I was going to do when I graduated college. I said, Dad, I'm going to change the world. I graduated college and I managed a McDonald's for 7 years. So, changed it one burger at a time. It really took me a while to really realize where my passion was, and I kind of fell into it by accident. When my husband and I moved here, we had 2 little girls at the time. There was an opportunity to be the assistant naturalist at the Nature Center, and it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays during the school year with summer off. And that fit perfect into my kids' schedule. So that's kind of how I fell into the job and realized this is what I grew up doing. This is what I should have done all my life, but I didn't know you could make money at it. They pay me to canoe. Okay. But like I said, I just love the outdoors. So in my field, obviously, your earth sciences, your environmental sciences, conservation classes are really what you need to focus on. And there's a wide variety in my field. And the nice thing in the state of Iowa, you can be in conservation at the county level, you can be in it at the state level, and we have the federal level. We have it all in one state. Every other state in the United States, it's only state or federal. We are the only state that has county conservation system. So it's kind of unique, and it's also nice being the bottom guy in the totem pole. Especially right now with what's going on, my job's secure. So it's nice. I also have an education background. I later went back, a lot of my professors told me that I should be a teacher, and I thought, nah, I don't want to do that. And I realized, yeah, I do, you're right. But I don't want to grade papers. I'm not good sitting in a classroom. So I've kind of been able to combine all of my loves. I can go into the schools with the kids and do educational programs. We can go outside, we can hike, we can climb, we can pick up bugs, I hold snakes. All of those things that I did as a kid, it can be a career. So if there's a love that you have as a kid, think about that in your future. A typical day for me involves people shorter than my kneecaps. That's about the only thing typical about my day, is I'm gonna be in front of little kids. I'm gonna hear, Billy Willie, Billy Willie, Billy Willie, Billy Willie, a lot. And I'm not a puppet, just one mom thought I was. And then I had a little girl who said, oh, Billy Willie, that's cool, what's your last name? So if you can get a rhyming name when you get married, ladies, okay, that just makes it way more fun too. But generally, like I said, a typical day, something to do with nature, either inside or outside, preferably outside. We take kids out at, well, we can't take them out at 20 below, the school won't let us, but we get them out at 10 degrees and teach them that it's good. Life is good outside. Get off the screens, realize what's out there and how cool it is out there. And yes, it's cool to pull legs off of spiders. They're not an endangered species. You can do it. It's cool. Like I said, sometimes in life, your career hits you later. You don't really realize when you're 18, 19, 20 what you really do want to do with your life. And sometimes it's 30, 35 when you decide this is it. This is what I want to do forever. And my husband's old enough, I have to do this forever, keep the insurance going. So. But like I say, if you have a love of outdoors, conservation, biology, lots of wonderful opportunities. Thank you, Billy. Oh, that was our cheat sheet.
No, I think I'm good. I think Bill and I are sure.
Oh, okay. Okay, next up we have Dr. Rebecca Walker.
I think I'm a little taller than them, I'll just shrink. Well, ladies, congratulations. And I would like to encourage you in the fact that you're already role models without maybe realizing it. My 7-year-old heard I was gonna go talk to 2 young girls. She said, can I come? And so she's here listening, not quite sure maybe what STEM is all about, but starting to understand the process of loving learning. And I think that's part of it, is that you don't always know that you love math and science, but you have a love for learning and exploring, whether it's the human body or insects or various things. And we want the answer now, because people are always asking us, what do you want to do with your life? Oh, I better have that figured out from A to Z. And we don't. It might be 7 years later after just walking forward step by step. And that's what we're called to do, is just move forward, and God truly will put you where you're supposed to be as long as you're faithful in the moments to get there. So I'm a chiropractor, and with that, I'm actually a chiropractic neurologist. I took additional school upon all the school you take. And so the reason I came into my field My aunt is a physical therapist, and when I was about 5 years old, we were together at Thanksgiving, and she said, I make grown men cry all day. I went, I want to do that! And then you learn that's not what you do, but kind of, sometimes I do. And they paid me for that, so no. But throughout school, I was very athletic. I was an active individual. I got significantly injured in 8th grade, which led me to countless months of physical therapy that wasn't quite panning out to get me back to where I wanted to be athletically. My physical therapist and basketball coach encouraged that I go see a chiropractor and pair the two together. And it was phenomenal how it worked. I mean, one works very specifically with muscles, one works that much more specifically with joints, and working together as a team got me back competing where I wanted to be. Didn't know that I wanted to be a chiropractor yet. I knew throughout 8th grade and beyond that I still wanted to work with people. And so, like Jamie said, I shadowed a lot. I remember high school years, if I had an opportunity to go talk to someone, I was hanging out with them. I was in the athletic training room often, not at that point because I was injured, at that point because I enjoyed athletes and injuries. I just didn't realize that that's why I was there. My athletic trainer was a very good mentor, and he said, I don't think you want to be a massage therapist, you don't like people that much. It's a duration of time. I love people, and that's what ends up drawing you to where you are. But my family were educators, so they both were at the college level. My dad was actually a college coach, so I had a lot of people speaking into my life in various aspects of high education, which was pretty cool. So I never thought twice about going on to college and further. That just was my plan. So to any of you who maybe are first-time college goers or that's your potential future, I mean, keep at it because it's fun. Once you figure out the path, even though you may not know it, learning becomes that much more fun. In undergrad, I did pre-professional, so I still didn't know chiropractor versus maybe medical doctor versus athletic trainer or physical therapist, but something people-oriented and getting them better. And so you did pre-professional, your biologies, your chemistries. I think I had to do mathematics. I went to Europe for my histories. So I got creative with some of my studies, which was really neat, and I encourage that as well, because the more diverse we can be with a lot of our things allows us to grow within our field in so many aspects. But I think, my parents' biggest encouragement to me was do what you love. And so if you love what you're doing, it's never a day of work. My dad ended up retiring at 60, and he said, I never had a 4-letter word in my life. I never worked a day in my life. He had fun. So work was never hard or work, it was fun. And that's, as a chiropractor, I experience that daily. Math is critical thinking, right? And so we learn our textbook answers for a significant disorder that someone's coming in with or an injury. That doesn't always mean that A plus B equals C. It doesn't matter. It always is. But you have to start to critically think through a patient care. So that's the favorite part of my day, is that you listen to the patient, because in 80% of what they say, you can figure out what's going on. So you have to have your communication skills, your listening skills, and be able to connect with people, and they trust you because then they're going to tell you more. But then you also have to have the background of the biology and the physiology and chemistry, quite honestly. As a chiropractor, I go head to toe, especially with chiropractic neurology. I'm assessing the brain. I deal with brain injuries, concussions, movement disorders, just developmental delays a lot, and that's in a very small town, Iowa. 2.5 hours for someone of my educational level, and I do refer because there are some phenomenal chiropractic neurologists up in Minneapolis that see a lot of the NHL players and various sporting athletes that need further care. But to be able to diagnose and to care for them at a level that isn't always attainable because we're not thinking outside of the box. And so medical neurologists will look at, do you have a hard lesion or an issue that needs medication, whereas chiropractic neurologist is going to see, okay, an area of the brain isn't working as well, how can we rehab that area to make it work better? And the brain is a phenomenal thing that God designed. It's ever changing and growing, and it's curious and it wants to learn. And so that's the cool thing, is you get to see that. And specifically in my world, God put me in this path 13 years before I had a daughter at 27 weeks with significant brain injury that was going to need so much of my knowledge. So it's really cool how everything is orchestrated for you before you need it. So add an 8th grader, ask questions, start shadowing people, take your math, your sciences, enjoy learning, and then never, I still remember when I applied for chiropractic school, I'm like, Mom, what if it's not for me? She was, then you're gonna spend X amount of dollars, which is a lot, and get to class the first day, and you're gonna learn something. And if anything, it's that it's not for you. Okay, let's go. And day 1 in class, it was, that's totally for me. So it's pretty cool how the stamp of approval was there. Average day in my office, same to Jamie. I am seeing someone from some days minutes after they were born, because my own children were adjusted within minutes of being born, to 96, 100. I think my oldest patient currently just turned 93 that I personally work on. So it's pretty cool to have a screaming, crying baby and then calm because you're helping their nervous system regulate, and then an old person who just wants to be able to move and walk a little better. So I explained my job with the brain controls everything. So when I'm moving this left hand, it's my right brain telling me primarily to do that. And when there's a dysregulation, oftentimes in simple cases, it's pain, telling us something's wrong in the body. And that's a beautiful thing because then we can figure out what we need to do with it. Do we need a medication? Do we need to improve our movement through chiropractic care, through physical therapy, through just moving more and getting outside? I mean, those are really the foundations. So chiropractic school, thankfully my husband and I both graduated college in 3.5 years because we took a lot of post-secondary in high school. So I was almost a sophomore going into college. And you guys, especially when you're brilliant, I just made my head big. And when you're smarter in your class and excelling, the first few years of college are kind of boring and tedious unless you're actually doing stuff you love. So I loved going right into my sophomore year, junior year, starting to actually get into the core classes of what you're learning. And then chiropractic school is 3.5 years year-round. So we're on for, I think it was 15 weeks, off for 3 weeks, on for 15 weeks for 3.5 years. And then my chiropractic neurology was an additional 300 hours. So it took me about 3 years with a lot of board exams. I think I've taken 8 national board exams, which is a lot of tests, but you learn to love tests because you love the material, and when you know the material, tests are easy. So ask questions, shadow people, and enjoy learning. Thank you.
And if you don't like tests, go into my field. There are no tests. You got a degree, you're done.
We've just heard from 3 of them, and look at the options available to you. And we have one more speaker today, Jessica Brown.
I apologize that I get to be your closing act. I have a little blast from the past with my chemistry teacher from high school sitting over there, and I'm sorry I did not pursue a science chemistry related to me. My name is Jessica Brown. I actually graduated from Bishop Garrigan in 1999, and I've always loved science. And first of all, congratulations to all of you ladies here. And I've been doing this, I think it's my 3rd year that I've come over here and talked to the students. And every year I always bring this paper full of stuff, and then I go off cuff and have a bunch of word vomit, so I apologize. So I've always loved science, sorry, not chemistry. And for me, it was a lot of biology, and I really was enthralled by like shipwrecks, and I thought that was so cool. And so I actually left Iowa and I went to Long Island University in New York, and I pursued a degree in, I started out in oceanography, and then I realized I did not care about plankton all that much. And so then I switched to biology, and then they ended up coming out with a degree called Interdisciplinary Psychology Biology, which is the study of human and animal behavior. They kind of call us the dog trainers or dolphin trainers, and I really did want to work at SeaWorld. And then I ended up and the biggest reason why I went out there is because they had this semester at sea program where you could spend 9 weeks at sea, and it wasn't a cruise ship. This was a two-masted schooner, 181 feet. There was 24 students, 3 mates, 3 deckhands, cook, captain, 2 professors. And we sailed all around down to the Dominican Republic, the West Indies, and you took classes right there, and then we sailed all the way up and we landed about 30 miles from our college. It was the best experience of my life. But then I realized, I don't really want to do this the rest of my life. So you end up, sometimes, as Billy said, finding your passion later in life. And so I came back, because my parents kind of had some failing health, and I'm a second of 6 kids, so I felt like I needed to come back home here to Iowa. And then by happenstance, there was a position that was open at it's Sunny Fresh Foods. It's over in Mason City. It was a company by Cargill. I don't know if any of you have heard of Cargill. A lot of farmers have probably heard of the company Cargill. And then I got in as a microbiology lab tech, completely different from what I was doing. And then within a year, my supervisor left, and so I've been there 20 years. This is my 20th year at Cargill. And I will tell you, it's the best job that I've ever had. I have a team of 7 people. And like I said, I started with a lot of my science courses, much like they said too, but the nice part about the job that I was able to get was that, I was like, red flag, can you send me back to school? And I just went back to NIAC to get some more courses, and they paid for it all, so which was really nice. So part of my job is I make everything that you've eaten today, I make sure that you're eating safe food. So what my team does is that they do all of the testing for all of the facilities that we support. So I support 3 Cargill facilities. Have any of you have heard of McDonald's? Just show of hands. Perfect. Well, the plant that my laboratory is in, I'm an ISO accredited laboratory, so we have standards that we have to follow, and so we have tests that we are accredited to. And a lot of our customers have to have their suppliers be ISO accredited for their lab testing. So what we do is, in that plant over there where my lab is, they make all of the eggs for McDonald's. All of them. Yes, they are real eggs. If someone tells you they're not, you can come talk to me. I will show you they're all real eggs. And we also support, everyone heard of the Farmer's Dog? Farmer's Dog food. So that is made up in Albertley, Minnesota. And we do all of their finished product testing and all of their environmental testing. So I will tell you this right now, your dog is eating the safest food if they eat that. There is more testing on dog food than there is human food.
Oh.
I'm no joking. And then we also support another facility where we do, if you've ever picked up ground beef or anything from Aldi or Hy-Vee, all of my lab technicians, they receive all of those products, and then they do all of the testing that's required by the customer, and then we send out their results. So a typical day for me it's not typical. Like today, I work from home, so I could come over here and do this. I'm usually at work by 5:15. I like to have my quiet time, and then all my technicians come roaring in, and then they do all of the nitty gritty. But it could be fixing instrumentation. We run PCR, so we do DNA testing at our laboratory. We do E. coli testing. So it can vary from day to day. Like someone sent me a message today, like, I gotta reset my password. Okay, well here's the link to do it. Or it could be like, I don't know what to do, this thing is not working, it's giving me errors. So it could be, from 0 to 180 in the length of a day. I also do lots of other things. I do a lot of recruiting at Iowa State, so if you end up at Iowa State, you might see me. I've been doing all of their recruiting for food safety for about 12, 13 years now, so I get to talk to a lot of college students, and trust me, even when I get to talking to them, and I say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, well, I don't know. It's like, it's okay. I don't really know what I want to be, and I'm 44, so, you will change, and your interests will change, but keep exploring, and these lovely ladies all said things that I totally agree with, and you have to be able to, pick things that you're not going to work a day in your life, and I really don't feel like I work a day in my life, because I love people, I love supervising people, it's not for everybody. I like watching my team succeed, and when that light bulb happens in their brain, like, oh, eureka, I figured it out, that to me is the best thing that I could, that's the accolade that I get. So I can't be successful unless my team is successful, so like I said, word vomit. So yeah, I've been with Cargill 20 years, and I've stayed in this area because my husband is from Clear Lake, and we wanted to raise our twin girls. We're graduating this year, and that's very sad. Sad. I'll be okay, it's fine. But both of my kids are interested in STEM, and they're both going to go on to STEM-related fields. So it's a great, there's so many things you can do in STEM. So just keep your eyes and ears open for everything and just explore as much as possible, because you just never know what you might come across that you'll enjoy.
Well, this certainly has been an interesting panel. Great, thank you ladies very much. Now, does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask any of these gals?
I want to know how many communications classes they think would be good for their field.
How many communications classes would be good?
I actually took a healthcare communication class my senior year of college. However, the teacher had us watch, what's the show? The guy that does horrible House. Oh, we watched House. And then we had to stop and say everything that he did wrong in House and how we would better speak with somebody. And so that was the entire course. But that was a little bit out of the box, but it was a requirement at that time. Once I got into PA school, it was a little more specific to real life. But I don't know if you guys did.
I just took the basic classes, but I was a theater kid, so yeah, just give me a stage.
I had one speech class in undergrad, and that's the only communication class I remember. I had a really good foundation in 6th through 8th grade on writing papers, so I think that helped remind you need a foundation when you're learning. But my speech instructor said, you have to prepare. And I'm a ad lib, you stand up there and talk because I don't want to read from a paper. I know I missed a lot of points that they asked us to speak on, but it's part of, I don't know, communicating, maybe not the most effectively, but she said, you can't use your beauty to get what you want in life.
Oh, works for me.
But it stuck with me just as the encouragement to remember, like, it's not this, it's this and this that make the difference, and effectively communicating to people does make a difference. I have patients in my office more often than not, and I have people that travel 5 hours plus for me. And they will say, thank you so much. I might not be the one to be helping them specifically. I have a gentleman who was just diagnosed with myasthenia gravis, which is a pretty, can be debilitating condition, but I was able to explain things to him that even after specialist after specialist after specialist, he hadn't had it explained to that degree. So it doesn't matter your head knowledge if you can't communicate that to people. So if you feel like you struggle communicating, take more classes in that, because you have to effectively communicate. I feel for people to trust you and to actually help them in life.
I don't think, I agree. I don't remember what classes I took. I go on campus and they're like, oh, I'm taking 201. So I don't know what you're talking about. For me, I think a lot of it is leadership courses. A lot of that is all integrated into those leadership courses that you take. And, for me, Cargill does a really good job about making sure that you keep up with those skills. And to me, being a good leaders, you have to communicate. And so while I don't remember any specific classes, I just make sure that, I'm keeping up with all of those skill sets that I built up over the years.
Okay, thank you.
Question
Is that a question?
Billy Willie, how many legs does a daddy long legs have to walk?
How many legs does a daddy long legs have to walk?
Technically only 2, but you have to have one on the top on this side and the bottom one on this side, and they can make it work. If you have the 2 in the middle, it doesn't work. You can't do it. Yeah, who knew I remembered that? That was so much fun. We had 1 million of them on the farm. It was okay.
Any other questions? Yes, Jennifer.
Can you talk a little bit, for those of you who have traveled, maybe in college, and how that affected your your direction with your studies and with your career?
Travel and how it might have affected your career?
Well, first of all, I wanted to I love Iowa, but I wanted to leave Iowa. My mom got sick when I was in high school, and I basically became a mom to 4 other children. And so I wanted to leave to, well, I didn't want anyone to rely on me. That's terrible to say. It's not my human nature. But, you know, when I got out to Long Island, it was complete culture shock. You know, when you live in Iowa and you go to Southampton, New York, where the richest people in the world live, the fast-paced lifestyle that they live is just crazy. But I said, I'm gonna do this. I'm not going back without my diploma. And you know, being on semester was absolutely thrilling. And then I also spent a summer working at Walt Disney World at the Disney's Animal Kingdom. I took people on safari rides, which was all, I mean, it all kind of went with the degree that I was getting, because they would teach the animals certain sounds that they would have to then come back to their pens, you know, so like a giraffe could have like 3 clicks on a you know, a railing or something, and they would know that's time to go back in. So I spent a summer doing that. And I think that if I didn't come back to Iowa, I probably would have kept that route, but I'm not ashamed of when I came back, because I've found a career that I didn't realize I liked too. But that psychology part of it has helped me too, because I feel like I have a very good leader to the team that I have. Because of those psychology courses that I took. Even if, you know, they say if you work in my field, they tend to work with kids who have autism, and so you have to learn how to communicate. So I took all those classes, so it has definitely helped me in my job today. But I, you know, without going and exploring and doing all those other things too, I have lost my train of thought. To learn all that, you know, I think that, you know, when you travel too, it just opens your eyes to so many more possibilities. You're like, this is so cool. And so I think for me, it was very educational from a personal side, mental side, every aspect of it.
One more question back here.
Oh, so you would say that you're not afraid to try new things, is what you're all saying, in a different way, right? If you weren't ready to venture out or try something you weren't sure of, it wouldn't have led you where you wanted to be, correct?
Exactly.
One more question from our young lady here.
Okay, so like, for like any of you that like maybe went to like a bigger university to a smaller like school, do you think like you see a difference in like the schooling, like on the different levels of like, where the school goes?
The
So I
difference between a large school and a small
Yeah.
school? In your high school or college?
College.
College.
I started out at a community college first. The understanding with my parents was if I paid for my first 2 years of college, they would pay for my second 2. So I started out just as a local community college, then went on to Iowa State, transferred down to Iowa State. For me, I loved that route. I still have friends from community college as opposed to the friends I had at Iowa State. And I was in a sorority at Iowa State, so you would think I would have all these like wonderful sorority sisters. No, but I know where people from Iowa, just that small setting was really good for me. And it was the math and the, you know, all the basics. You know, I knew all my professors by name there. So for me, that was the best route for me to go.
Well, I think when you make connections, so I went to Bemidji State, which is 6 hours north of here. I toured North Carolina, I toured University of North Dakota, all the big ones for medical types fields. And I really struggled with, do I have to have that stamp of a good school on my resume to get to the next step? No, it truly often tends to be who you know, what connections you've made, what people you've talked to, shadowed, that can give you a good, you know, reference. Thank you. And then also, my girlfriend went to Harvard, and she had a nothing, nobody job, but she thought Harvard was gonna stamp her with the next step, right? And so it really doesn't matter, I don't feel, where you go to college, as long as you're following a path forward. I tell everyone, if you don't know what you wanna start studying, go work for a while. Don't spend the money, it's expensive, and you can learn so much in the real world for a while first, to then figure out where you do want to be.
Okay, I think we will move on at this point. Time to hand out the certificates to our young ladies. I'm going to have you each, excuse me, Janet has some thank you cards for them.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to read your name off. After I read your name off, would you please come up and our president, Nettie Renshaw, will give you your certificate. Yes, Kathy?
Would you have the kids introduce their
Yes.
parents?
I'm going to.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy, for the reminder, though. Yes, when you come up, would you please take the time to introduce your parents or whatever, and any additional family that is here with you today? Okay? We know that family and parents are an important part of your success, and I'm sure you know that too. So we want to recognize them as well. And the parents, if you want to stand, that's fine, or you can just wave. Okay? Sophie Miller. And after the applause, first one, just wait. You'd like to say who your parents are?
Yeah, my dad Carl Miller and my mom Shelly Martinez, and then my brother Denver Miller. He is 7 years old.
Great, thank you. Kate Limbaugh. My mom Amber's here. Temporary, sort of handicapped. Leda Kamenko? Lada, I'm sorry.
My mom Julia Berhal and my stepdad Phil Berhal are here today. So yeah.
Thank you. Lacey Vasky.
My mom Stephanie Vasky and my dad Scott.
Rose Kitzinger.
My mom and dad Ivy and Nate Kinsinger.
Kinsey Tilges.
My mom and dad Todd and Angie Tilges.
Emily Oldencap. She's not here. Kylie Crone.
My dad, Josh Crone.
Josephine Gibbs. Not here. Hayden Wellman, or excuse me, Halen. Did I pronounce that right?
My dad, Greg Wellman.
Violet Espy.
My dad, Keith Espy, and my mom, Michelle Espy.
Carson Meyer.
My mom and dad, Jack and Chris Meyer.
Allie Julius.
That's my mom, Erica. That's my stepdad, Jeremy, and that's my stepmom, Dusty.
Natalie Orban.
My mom and dad, Jill and Adam Orban.
Rebecca Willie.
I'm getting there. Hold on. Oh, my parents, Scott and Billy Willie. Oh, sit down.
Lucy Eisenbarth.
She's not here.
Lucy's not here. Abigail Dearda.
My parents are Lauren Shadiro.
Hope Rooney.
My mom Sarah's back there, and Greg is also back there.
Avery Culbertson.
My parents, Brad and Chris Holmes.
Rachel Kaylee.
She is not here.
She is not here. And that is all of them. Thank you very much, and again, congratulations to all the young ladies, to their parents, their families, their teachers. And I know that there's more than just teachers in the school. I have been doing reading buddies in 4th grade, and I see there's a lot of support staff in the school, everywhere from the lunch people, cooks, there's recess people, there's all kinds of teacher assistants, and all of those people are important. Don't overlook them in your life, because they can make significant differences in your life, as well as your teachers, of course.